Let's go. We'll have some minefield. Steel. Metropolis is one of my favourite boards, so yeah, why not? I've been poking around with how Beyond actually works, and I believe whenever you play Beyond, you have a chance of unlocking an artifact, like a divine. That divine will be... every stage has an associated divine. Okay. And I believe that the way that Beyond works is whenever you play through one of these boards, I've got to phrase this correctly because I find it a little bit difficult to phrase this. It's hard to talk about things like that and think at the same time. Yeah, every stage has an associated divine. So, like the cavern has divine pickaxe associated with it, and if you complete a Beyond mode run, you have a chance of unlocking at least one divine. You may be able to unlock multiple divines. I'm not sure about that. I haven't had it happen yet. The divines you unlock will come from the stages you have played. So, like, if I played through caverns, say, like, I can't think of any other divines that you can unlock off the top of my head. I don't know, say the farm gives you scythe, divine scythe, I'm not sure if it does, but if I play through caverns, farm, then I would have a chance of unlocking, I think, divine pickaxe or divine scythe, and probably more chance of unlocking divine scythe than divine pickaxe, because the items that you have put in as sort of tribute, you know, like your artifacts, they determine what device you could potentially unlock. The thing that is quite unfortunate about the way that Beyond works is that you're not actually guaranteed to unlock any divines at all. So I think the majority of my wins, I've walked away with an awful lot of XP doublers and additional artifacts. And honestly, it is worth playing Beyond just to unlock additional artifacts to allow you to play other Beyond runs. Because I know for certain that I have an awful lot of trouble with finding energy from the tribe stage, because I think you can only unlock artifacts if you're playing in at least normal mode. And honestly, I tend to wipe before I get to tribe, and even when I do, it doesn't really seem to pay out with energy. And I want to get more energy so I can craft more friendly fires. So they're always going to be in fairly high demand for me. At least if I'm playing on Beyond mode and I just happen to, you know, if I just happen to unlock some energy by winning a run, then hey, bonus, even if I didn't get a divine. I mean, divines are what you want. There's no denying that. Yeah, interesting. Quite often Beyond runs will just pay for themselves anyway, so... okay, is that... Ugh. I mean, that couldn't have told me anything particularly useful, but... I don't have to be happy about that. This is really tricky. Can't be both of those, can't be both of those, can be both of those, but would it be? Okay, at any rate, that's safe. Right, can't be these two, can't be both of them, so that must be one. Now then, can't be that one, and I love the soundtrack for this game, but gosh, air raid sirens just... man, that's not a great noise. I don't think there's anything I can really do to work this out safely. And the power's gone up, presumably because I've gone into a minefield. Okay, you could have been more helpful. There's a resolution, for sure. You can't knock that. Gosh, I hate guessing though. I really hate guessing. I don't even remember what the reward was for completing that. It doesn't seem to be anything I could have used. Ooh, large. We like large. When I was a lad, I ate 4 maple seeds every morning to... No, never mind. You know... Gaston was a Disney prince. Definitely was. He was just in the wrong movie. If you put Gaston into, say, like Sleeping Beauty, he would absolutely be the hero. You know, if you put him in one of those early Disney movies where the princess wasn't allowed to be quite so independent, or you know, think for herself or anything, then they would have made him their king. He was a fairy tale hero, just also a misogynist and, you know, possibly a sex offender of some sort. I really like him as a character, that's the problem. I know you're not supposed to, but there's something I really like about just the pompous, self-important, like, you know, asshole kind of characters. I mean, absolutely one of my favourite quote-unquote villains from a video games. If you've ever played Disgaea, I really like Vyers. He's just absolutely in love with himself, and I find that hilarious. I don't know how well known a game it actually is, but there's a it's a strange one. It's a sort of a combination of match 3 and platforming. Henry Hatsworth in the Puzzling Adventure. It's a platforming game. It does a bit of match 3. The main character is just a cute little sort of early elderly, sort of late middle-aged gentleman who has a really, really fierce tea obsession. But they give you a character in there, Lance Banson, who, when you fight him, he sings his own Italian opera to you. But if you really listen to the lyrics, they sound Italian. But when you actually get down to it, it's become apparent that he's written his own opera, or his own aria, but he doesn't actually speak the language. And it's just a nonsense jumble of musical terms that sort of sound a bit meaningful until you really start listening to it. And that makes me laugh every time. It was a good game, actually. It's quite difficult as well if you unlock Gentleman mode. The match 3 element is... it feels like filler sometimes, because it just sort of slows you down, and if you don't play it, all it does is adds obstacles to the game, so you kind of have to play it a bit. But it's quite well integrated. I mean, it was back in the time when the DS was still kind of new, I guess, or newish, but games tended to... I feel like the DS was really... I won't say plagued, but the games for it were very prone to working out ways to use that touchscreen technology without really thinking too much about whether the touchscreen would add much to the games. So, like, or like the microphone, that was a bit of a devil as well sometimes. Like, if you were playing, was it Zelda? which one was it now? The one with the boats. The one with the boat on the DS. Oh